What's going on, Buff Nation? Welcome back to another video. So just today, just happened a little bit ago, a running back has committed to the Buffs and to Coach Prime. And I spoke about this in the last show about, look, there was some concerns. I had some question marks. The running back room, there was some quality there, but I was concerned about depth and where things were headed. No need to fear, okay? They locked it in. And I said there was still some time left. Puts them at 80 scholarships. We'll talk all about that, what this means for the running back room. Then we've got Coach Harrell talking about just the recruiting landscape thus far for Colorado. It's a very interesting clip of an interview. We're going to play that, talk all about it. And then, of course, the sensation, the sweepstake, the Juju Lewis sweepstake that is happening at the moment. It is spicier than ever. We got to talk about it before we do any of that. You know the drill. Roll the intro. I flushed my juice down in the club. Let's get it. Let's go. Like I said, big time running back and Isaiah Augustov, I believe it's how it's pronounced, from Arkansas, originally a 4-star commit, top 300 player when coming out of high school, now set as a 3-star in the transportable. We're going to talk about stars in a little bit later on in the show, and I love what Coach Harrell had to say about the stars and what they mean and what they're targeting. We'll get into all of that in just a moment, but I got to tell you, I love this pickup here. We talked about running backs. I say this is a big thing that I say constantly. Running backs are a dime a dozen. It's not a shot towards running back. There's just a lot of quality and talented running backs out there. Don't forget, Dylan Edwards was a true freshman, in my opinion, was an electric playmaker on the field last year. You're getting two guys here in Hayden and now Gustave, I believe, that are going to be just making a great pair in the running back room. And don't sleep on Charlie O, obviously earning himself a scholarship, runs extremely hard. And Micah Welch, who we're going to hear about later on the show as well, is making an incredible impact as a true freshman as well. This running back room, like I said, wasn't a complete disarray with Amos leaving, but I did have my question. And just like that, it's fixed again. And I love where the running back room is headed. Some young, fresh legs. And honestly, what I love most about this, I'm a slut for a big time solid running back. 6'2", 208. They don't build them like that anymore. That gives me Derrick Henry style type of vibes. Put on maybe 10 more pounds, and you got to just truck coming at you. And he runs like a fullback. He hits you like a fullback with speed like a halfback. This guy has blazing speed. We're going to watch this film from high school here in just a moment. But you can see his PFF score from last year at Arkansas with a 74.7. Didn't have a lot of snaps, about 38 snaps, averaged about 5.8 yards a carry. Had the highest PFF score on the Diamondbacks, given did not have as many carries as most of the backs. Again, as a true freshman, coming into the Buffs as a sophomore with a ton of eligibility left. So again, you've got to like where things are headed. Another future piece to the puzzle. Things are really, you could see where it's starting to build up. We've got some pickups for last few weeks on the offensive line. Very futuristic pickups. Again, all things kind of pointing to how do the Buffs land Juju Lewis, which we'll get into. But if you take a look at this kid's film, again, this is high school a couple years ago. Love the speed. He just hits the ground running and takes off. There's a clip coming up here in just a moment where he just absolutely bulldozes the linebacker. I think this is the play right here, which I love. Just 6'2", 208, all up in your grill. And that's what I love about a good running back. Nowadays, again, we're the Derrick Henry back style is going extinct. We're getting more into the Austin Eckler 5'10", 5'11" halfback, popping in and out of holes where you can't see them and then they're gone. And I don't mind it. But I love a good old style fashion running back, just punch you in the mouth and blow past you as well. So this young man gives me those kind of vibes, and it's going to be excited to see the impact that he's going to make. I think all of these guys, in my opinion, in this running back room have the ability to be playmakers next year and have an impact on the football field. It's going to be anybody's game and who wants it the most. Now, speaking of who wants it the most and the type of guys they're going after, I've noticed the last few pickups, and we've talked about that, haven't been your splash pickup where it's like, there's got 19 stars on their profile. These guys are amazing. They've adjusted. And I've kind of commented that. I was like, look, I mean, you've got to build depth, things like that, because we're not fulfilling the stars. But a kid like this, who was a 4-star, now a 3-star, watching this film, again, incredible pickup. Stars don't always tell a full story. Coach Harrell talks about this in this interview. And we're also going to talk about the new projection that Coach Prime is attacking recruiting as well, which is interesting. Take a listen.
Got to change. I'll be honest. Before, when we made the flip, we was going to get guys that, because of the school where they coming from the Alabama to Florida State, chasing those 4 and 5 stars. And we made some mistakes. A lot of guys that we got on campus, we realized they weren't the guys that we needed. And in one meeting, Coach Prime, he was like, All right, stop chasing the 4 and 5 stars. Find the guys that love the game. Find the guys that has aspirations for us going to the next level. Find those guys and let's coach them up. So we kind of like change a whole lot of things how we recruit. Like for me, you got to recruit me also. A lot of kids, we got a lot of divas. They want you to call them, call them. I'm gonna call you. I need to know that you're gonna call me every now and then and recruit me and show interest. And I'll make an example. Like so, Michael Welch, the running back, he did a great job of that. He was like a 3 star, probably could have been a 4 star. But when I sat down at him with him at his high school and looked that young man in his eyes and heard his story.
I love this. I love the approach. I love just look, understanding like, hey, we went. This was our approach. It wasn't working. The type of personalities we're getting into the locker room. We kind of saw that. We've been seeing guys leave, and you're wondering what's going on, what's happening with the locker room, and it's like, look, you're chasing what a piece of paper tells you. And I've talked about it multiple times. You're not always going to get, a stud or a dog out of 4 or 5 star. They give you a nice, catalyst to look at. And you've got to think about it. Coming in the last year, you're trying to hit the ground running. You're just going boom, 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 boom. Yes, 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 yes. And then you realize like we wasted time with just going after the stars. And like, look, you can go get a 3 star guy that's probably getting overlooked because of size or maybe the high school that he played at. And we don't got to pay him all this nonsense, nor deal with all the drama that comes with the 4 and 5 stars. These are ebbs and flows. And if you're going to sit here, I know the haters are going to come in and say, well, he should have known this as a coach. Every coach is learning something at every single level, right? They come into this and you've got NIL that's being thrown at you, which is brand spanking new. So you're constantly learning these things. The games are constantly evolving, and you got to see what fits into your scheme, what fits into your culture, and the way that you want to coach. And this is something I've been kind of alluding to as well too. Just these recruits, I mean, they're get treated like absolute royalty right now. And with those ebbs and flows, sometimes those personalities don't want to be coached or want to be managed. So I love hearing him say that we made a complete adjustment. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk to these kids. He was asked later on about recruiting because that rumor went around that Coach Prime doesn't recruit. He doesn't go to high schools. And Coach was like, look, I go, because he talked about Cindy Knight. He's like, we go visit, and Coach Prime's trying to visit more. He just doesn't want to go to certain schools and leave out other schools because they don't have the budget to hit every single school. So they've got to be precise in where they go, and which we've talked about on the show before. So that was something interesting to hear, and I loved getting that insight. It's a great interview on On3 Recruiting. It's like an hour long. There's a ton of information there. If you want to get some more insight and behind the scenes of kind of how they're functioning, it's a lot of great stuff that they spoke about. But let's talk about, again, going into the recruiting aspect. Juju Lewis has been a hot topic. Sends out a tweet that he's going to be visiting Colorado for an official visit, and what you've got to realize, he's been there this week, I think his third, maybe his fourth time now at Colorado. None of those were official visits. And it's like, well, what's the difference? The difference between unofficial and official is the recruit pays for themselves. So it's all on their dime, technically. Like that's on the paperwork, right? And typically they can go and visit, but there's certain things they can't show you, right? So you're limited to what you're able to do. On an official visit, it's that wine and dine treatment. You roll out the red carpet, you bring them in, everything is included. You get treated like royalty. You really get to set the stage and set the tone of like, here's what we want to do for you. Here's how much we really care about you. Here's what's going to happen. I imagine all these conversations have already happened, but it hasn't been built up to really deliver a big moment for these guys. So when they have these big time recruiting weekends, that is going to be the difference. And if they're able to close and land someone like a Juju Lewis, and this, in my opinion, I think is their adaptation to the recruiting landscape a little bit. We know the formula 40-40-20. I think there's probably going to be some tweaks to that percentages, right? Maybe 25-30 to recruiting. We've got to find a nice, middle ground is my thought. And even listen to that interview, they are making adjustments. But again, a commit like Lewis, I think everybody knows the impact that would do for college football. They chased after those 2 big 5 stars in the last few years with Travis Hunter, Kermani McLean, right? Those are big splashes. In my opinion, those are warm-ups. Those were, those are your first at-bats to get the ball rolling. Can you land yourself a 5-star? Jordan Seaton, another one that was part of a big class, right? 3 big splashes in a row. This is going to be the icing, the cherry on top if you're able to do Juju Lewis. This is really ramping up I would say, your presence in the college football and the college landscape of like, we are here to play. We are serious. We started this. We went to this, got Jordan Seaton, and now we land the number 1 quarterback in the country. Not too many head coaches that have been coaching for a very long time are able to etch that in the resume of landing the number 1 quarterback in the class. Now, again, I know Bryce Underwood is up there as well too. These two keep going back and forth, and who knows how it'll end up by the end of it. But ultimately, a top tier quarterback could end up at Colorado in the next few months. Steve Wiltfong said, "Look, there's a lot going on there. Let's not sleep on Colorado. A lot of great buzz." The one thing I will say, and I'm going to keep it a buck with you, because I've been very pessimistic when it comes to these on three guys. Not negative against them. I don't have any beef with any of these people, but they typically, I feel, don't have a pulse of what's going on with the recruits. Usually, because I think just the way that Coach Prime navigates, doesn't want this getting out. They feel very involved with this particular recruit. Now, this is a big time recruit, so that could be the reason for their reason for engagement more than normal. And the reason, again, I say all this because it's like usually when Coach Prime surprises them, they don't know what's going to happen, right? Because when that Jordan Seaton, all that news went down, it was always Ohio State. They had Ohio State leading the way. Colorado never felt comfortable with it, and there was a potential flip. All those things, obviously, it never happened, and it feels like Coach Prime doesn't want these guys ever to know what's going on. So we'll see. It is going to be something that is going to be monitored and watched over the next few months here. Could he commit in the next month or two? Could that be a big time pull there? That first official visit? And look, that lands, you got to keep your eyes peeled for a lot of big dominoes to fall. That would be, it would be insane. It'd be one hell of a land headed into the season coming up, which obviously we know is going to be absolutely electric. So great stuff, great update. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, if you did, smash the like button, subscribe. Your thoughts in the comments. I appreciate all of your support and the love and understanding of spending some family time. So thank you very much for that. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace and love, baby.